today's session is based on ratio proportions. We'll see the kind of questions they ask in GRE, right? This is one important concept in ratio. The usually people do mistake that we will see today, that we should not do mistake in the ratio. What kind of question they ask in GRE, where we fall in the trap, right? So should not fall in the trap, and we should get the answer correctly. Before that, let's understand the meaning of ratio. If I let's take an example. Let's take an example. Let's take an example. Let's say there are three sections in a college, right? Section A, section B, and section C, right? And the number of boys in the section A is given, let's say 10, and section B is given 15, section C is given, let's say 20. And the number of girls in section A is given as 20, given here 30, and here 40. Now, see, the numbers are different in every sections, correct? No, the number of boys and number of girls are different in every section. But if I ask you find out the ratio of boys and girls in every section, what should be ratio? 1:2, correct? No, in section B also 1:2, in section C also 1:2. What does it mean? What is the meaning of this example? Which means that it says 2 points. First point, the ratio is not actual value, correct? Ratio is not actual value. First learning out of this example. See, the actual values are different in every section. The number of boys and number of girls in every section is different. But if you find the ratio of number of boys and number of girls in every section is the same, correct? Which means the ratio is not the actual value. Second point, how do I make the actual values, right? I must have a common multiplier. Important point, I must have a common multiplier. Example, in this case, how do I write the common multiplier? Just multiply by x both sides. So I can say here x is to 2x, correct? No, same thing here, x is to 2x, same thing here, x is to 2x. Now x is the 2x. Now if I know the common multiplier value, I can find out the actual values, right? So the value of x, what is the value of x here? 10 in the first section, correct? No, what is the value of x in second section? 15, correct? The value of x in the C section, that is x equals 20. If I know the common multiplier, then I can find out the actual values, right? So let's say if given the question is given A is to B, let's say given 2 is to 3, remember, it does not mean A equals 2, it does not mean B equals 3. That is a wrong assumption, right? The many beginners think this way, A equals 2 and B equals 3, wrong assumption. Which means I can write this way, A equals 2x, I can write. Why 2x? I am just multiplying here common multiplier, that's all. And I can write also B equals 3x, correct? Then I can write this way. But I cannot write A equals 2 and B equals 3. Since we know the ratio is not the actual value, I can make it actual value multiplying by x, the common multiplier. And you know that if I multiply by a number to the first ratio, I must multiply by the same number to the second ratio, right? So let's try to understand the questions based on the ratio, the kind of question they ask in GRE. Let's go ahead. Look at this question. A can of nuts contains almonds. A can of nuts contains almonds, and cashews in a ratio of 2:3, if there are 30 almonds in the can, how many cashews are in the can? Very, very simple. What is the ratio is given here? The almonds and cashew ratio is given, right? Almonds and cashew ratio is given how much here? 2:3. Does it mean that A equals 2 and C equals 3? Not really. Correct? So I can say A equals, I can say 2x. Correct? And almonds, cashew, I can say 3x. Now, actual value is given here. See here? About almonds is given, right? So which means, can I say correct? Actual value is given here 30. So I can equate this one. If I equate this, I can get the value of x. So 2x equals 30. So what is the value of x? I'll get 15, right? And the same thing I can find the value of c easily because I know the value of correct. So 45 is the answer. Option number E. Make sense? That's all. Very, very simple. Very, very simple. I can use beta also here. How do you use beta? Look at the C option. I'll go with the C. If the number of cashew is 20, right? So what is the value of x? It's been 3 parts is 20, no? So I will not get the whole number, right? So not my answer. Look at this is, if 3 part is 30, what about the first one part? One part is 10. So what about the 2 parts? 20. But 2 parts, how much should be? Should be 30, correct? No. So but this is not my answer. Look at here. Look at this side, 45. So 3 parts. 3 parts is 45. Why 3 parts? Because 3 parts is given here. Cashews. 3 parts is 45. So what is the one part? 15. What about the 2 parts? About almonds? 30, which is given my target, 30 almonds. I can also solve it using beta. Okay. We'll go with the next one. Manasvi, did you understand? Manasvi, are you there?
Sorry, sir. I forgot to unmute. I was
No problem. No problem. So you
Yeah,
understood, right?
Yeah,
Let's go for the next one. Here we go. The question reads says a cane of nuts contains almonds and cashews in the ratio 2:3. If there are 75 nuts in the can, how many are cashews? See, there are two ways to solve it. One way I can solve it using the table. See the table? And the other way is I can solve it using our methodical approach, which I just we solved in the previous question. No, total almonds, how many are there? Total nuts, how many are there? 75. So can I say 2x plus 3x equals 75? Correct, no? Because how many almonds and cashews gave in terms of ratio? 2:3. I just multiplied by the common multiplier x. So can I say 5x equals 75? So what about x value? That is 15. What is the question? How many cashews are there? Cashews, how many parts? 3x, no? 3x. So just I can multiply 3 into 15. I can get the answer. How much you get the answer? 45. This is the one approach of solving it, the methodical approach, right? So what is the other way to solve it? So I can look at the table. Ratio is given almonds and cashews 2 and 3 here. Total parts I can say 5. And I know 75 is total actual value, nuts, right? So what is the multiplier should be here? 15, correct, no? 15. So here should be also 15. Should be common multiplier, same. Also here 15, correct? So how much I'll get the value here? I get 30 actual here. I'll get 45 actual here. My answer is number of cashews actual. This is my answer. 45. Correct. Same thing, basically same thing. 2 parts and 3 parts. Together 5 parts. And 5 parts given 75 actual value. So which means the common multiplier is 15. Correct. So 15 is common multiplier. I multiply everywhere. I'll get the answer 45. Let's go for the next question. Any doubt, Manaswe?
No, sir.
Let's go for this one. I'll give you some time. You solve it. The question reads as the ratio of A to B is 3 to 4. Okay. And A to B is given here 3 to 4. Now, don't forget to set up a scratch paper in the exam hall also. So, can I set up a scratch paper here? The A quantity A one side is given A plus 1 divided by B plus 1. Quantity B is given the other side as given 4 upon 5. Simple. Now, what is important here? Important is the ratio concept, right? If I say A is to B 3 is to 4, it does not mean A equals B, correct? No, which means the A equals 3x and B equals 4x, correct? Now let me write the option in between here, A, B, C, D. That is the option, A, B, C, D. Okay. Very important to understand, let me write in the capital. A equals 3x and B equals 4x. Now plug in, can I say here 3x plus 1, the quantity 1, divide by 4x plus 1, correct? Or here no need to change because we have 4 by 5. So the value of x could be anything, no? The value of x is the natural number, right? So if x equals 1, what is the value of A will get? 3, correct? If x equals 1, what will get the value here? 3 by 4. 3 plus 1, 4, and 4 plus 1, 5. So how much will get? 4 by 5. Right. So which option can be eliminated? Option A and B, because it got equal. But remember, the value of x cannot be 1 always, no? It could be any number. The x is a natural number, common multiplier, right? So plug in x equals 2, how much will get now? What is the value of A? 6. So 6 plus 1. What is the value of B? I get 8. 8 plus 1, correct? I'll get 7 by 9. Now what I got here, 7 by 9, which means option number C also got eliminated. What is left out? Option number D, and that's your answer. Always keep in the mind the two things. The first thing is that A is not equal to 3 all the time. A having the ratio 3 is to 4, A is to be 3 is to 4, which means A will have a common multiplier. I can say A equals 3x and B equals 4x. What is the value of x? Could be anything, correct? No, it's not given the value of x must be this much. The value of x could be anything. It could be any natural number. So you plug in the value of x equals 1, I'll get 4 by 5, which is equal to quantity B value. So A and B got eliminated. Let's assume x equals 2. I got some quantity A here, 7 by 9, which is not equal to the quantity B value. C also got eliminated, which means my answer is option number D. Make sense? Right? Yes, Manasvi, you got error, right? Which option you were telling, Manasvi?
I got both the answers at the same point, so I thought it's D.
So the value of x is not given here, no? It could be anything. the value of x. Correct?
Yes, sir.
And what about Yogendra? What mistake you did?
Sir, I took A is equal to 6 and B equal to 8 because it becomes ratio 3:4 now.
See, I just explained before the previous chapter, previous slide, isn't it? So A does not equal to 3 and B does not equal to 4. Always have the multiplier, then make it equal. Always. Okay, let's go for this one and tell me the answer for this. Let's understand the meaning of average and weighted average. Many beginners do not understand about this, right? So I'll just we'll try to find out the difference between these two terms, right? Just using just the one a simple diagram, a trivial examples of, right, having the difference between average and weighted average. Let's understand that. Okay. I'll just draw a diagram here. One for the average, one pi I'm drawing, and is average defined as there are three blocks in the pi. Right side block I am writing here average here, the number of elements, right? Or here in the top writing here sum. So you can relate easily, right? So how to find the average? Average equals sum divided by number of terms. I'll get the average. And how do I get the summation? I'll multiply average into number of terms. I'll get the summation. And the sum divided by average, I'll get the number of terms, number of elements, right? So, and of course we know the average is. What is average again? I can say average equals, right? That is sum divided by number of terms. That we know that, right?
Yes.
That we know. And how to find the sum? So that is sum equals average into n. Okay. Now what is weighted average? Let's also try to understand. I'll just make a 2 pi, not only 1 pi, 2 pi. 1 pi here. Let me take one more circle, 2 pi. And we have the first, this is a group 1, I can say this is the group 1, and this will represent group 2. It could be, you can take example of any group, let's say the employees group or students group or section, right? So we have, let's say, of course we have a first group. Let me take the average A1. You can assume that number of salary, I mean the average of salaries of the first group employee A1, and number of employees I can say N1 in the first group, and I'll get the summation, I'll get, right, that is A1 into N1, correct? No, summation I'll get, or that you can call the summation 1, call summation 1. Now take the other group in the company employee, other group of employees, where the average salary I'm getting A2 and the number of employees in N2. If we multiply this 2, I'll get the A2 into N2. This is summation 2, right? Means the total salaries, total amount, right? Now here, if I want to find out the average of these two combined together, right? The average of the group 1 and the average of salaries of the employees that belong to group 1 and group 2 together is called weighted average. It called weighted average. So I'll make one more bigger, right? So what should be the weighted average here now? How to find out weighted average? Equals sum 1 plus sum 2, which means what? A1 into N1 plus A2 into N2 divide by N1 plus N2. N1 plus N2, and if you divide this one, and that is called weighted average. Make difference. What is difference? In the average, what we do, we find the average of one group having the similarities, having the same units, or having the same what is called unit, and this having the same similarities. But what happens in the weighted average? We can combine the two or more than two groups, right? So let's say there are two groups together. I can find out a weighted average, or three groups together. If three groups means what? I can add one more, A3 N3, which means I get the summation A3 into N3. The sum of also I can write this way, weighted average, meaning I can write A1 into N1, that is summation 1, plus A2 into N2, that is summation 2, divide by total number of employees N1 plus N2, that is called weighted average. Make sense? That is average weighted, right? Now, what important point also to learn in the average things? The few important point, very important, just make a note. If the terms are in the arithmetic progression, let's say example, let's take an example here this side. Let's say given a terms given 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Look at these terms. These terms, whatever I have taken, the number of elements is of course 5, and we can see there is a common difference, no? The common difference, how much we have common difference here? 1, which is constant. So I can say this is the arithmetic progression. So to find out average of such terms is very, very simple. Just take the first term plus last term divide by 2. That's all. I'll get the answer 4, and that is my average. Always. Let's take an example. Let's take the 5. Let's take 7, 9, 11, 13. Correct? That's it. And of course these elements are also in the arithmetic progression. Why is that? Because we have a common difference. What's the common difference we have here? 2. So I can find out the weighted average for, the average for this term also. No need to sum of all the terms, not required, because as arithmetic progression, use the strategy that first term plus last term divide by 2. What is the first term? 5. What is last term? 13. Divide by 2. What is the answer? Will get 9. And that is my average. So whenever we have our arithmetic progression, any terms are in the arithmetic progression, you must understand the average meaning is the middle term, right? So very important point, average meaning is the middle term. When? Tell me. When? When the terms are in arithmetic progression, right? Then I can say the middle term is my average. That makes sense overall, the difference between average and a weighted average, and also how to find the average when the terms are given in the arithmetic progression. I can find out the average easily choosing the middle term or adding the first and the last divide by 2. I'll get the average. Shall we go and discuss the questions now? Right? Let's go for the questions now. I can solve 2 as okay. Let's understand this question. Question reads as the average salary of 12 employees at a certain firm $35,000. If the average salary of 8 of the employees is given $40,000, what is the average salary of the 4 remaining employees, right? So what do we have here? How many employees are there? Total employees? 12 employees. Out of 12, I know the average salary of 8 employees, which means I do not know the average salary of the 4 remaining employees. This is my question. So I can solve it easily. Can I say, if I add it together, let's say A1 into N1, or I can use the pi. Let's do it using the pi first. So I required 1 pi where I write down the total summation, right? Which means I know the how many employees altogether here? 12. And what is the average given? 35,000. Correct. How much get the total I'll get? 4 lakhs 20,000. Correct, no? Now, what do I know? I know remaining out of this, I know that 8 employees, the average salary I know, right? 8 employees, I know average salary. How much given average salary? $40,000. So what is summation I'll get here? 3 lakhs 20,000. Correct. Now, out of total summation, 3 lakh to 20,000 gone. How much remaining will get? What is remaining amount? 1 lakh. Correct. And I need to find out the remaining how many? 4 people. 8 already is there. Remaining 4. So what should be the answer? 425k. That is the answer. Right. Or if you want to understand the other way, the methodical approach, very simple. Can I say A1 into N1 plus, right, A2 into N2 equals total summation, right, A into N. Correct. Correct. What is A here? What is A here? Weighted average. What is N? Total number of terms. Total number of people. It means N1 plus N2. Correct, no? So same thing. What is A here? Weighted average. So now what is A1 is given? Is given 40,000. 40,000. What is N1? 8. What is A2? I do not know. I need to find out. N2 we have remaining 4. And A we have the weighted average we given, total is given, total average is given 35,000. What is total number of elements? 12. Same thing everybody. Am I doing anything wrong, anything new? Nothing. The same, exactly the same. So I'll get 3 lakhs 20,000 here plus 4 into A2 equals 4 lakh 20,000. So I can get the value of A2 easily. 4 lakh 20,000 minus 3 lakhs 20,000, I'll get 1 lakh, right? And divide by 4. I'll get my answer 25,000. Exactly same thing. What did we discuss just before, right? In the concepts. My answer is option number A.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, I mean, interesting to see that the weighted average concept and average concept. So, total I know 12 employees, and 12 out of 12 employees, I know the average of 8 employees, right? So, I can find out the sum of salary of 8 employees, that is 3 lakhs 20,000, right? And I know the sum of salaries of all the employees. How do I do it? 12 into 35,000. So remaining salary is 1 lakh, and this 1 lakh must be distributed among remaining 4 employees. So dividing by 4, I'll get 25,000 average. Option number A. Make sense? Let's go for the next. This is, I have already solved it, but I will erase this. You try yourself once again. Try this. Now, if you read the question reads as the average score of for half of the students in a class on a certain test is given 90. Average given 90 here. The average score of another 1/4 is given how much? 80. If the average score of all the students, right? All the students given how much? 78. What is the average score of the remaining students? So now you tell me what is not given here. What is hidden?
Number of
Wonderful. So which strategy I can use it? Hidden plugins. Manasvi, remember the hidden plugins. So let's assume the good number for the number of students. Total number of students, assume what should be? What's the good number?
100.
Super. Do it, not a problem. 100. Because we have 1 by 2, we have 1 by 4. I can do it easily, no? Now, so total 100, right? So can I say bigger A and bigger N equals A1 into N1 plus A2 into N2 plus A3 into N3. Make sense? Make sense? I can also draw using the pi, not a problem. Make sense? So what is now? Do I know the total average? Yes, I know 78. How many total number of people altogether? 100. Do I know first average? Yes, 90. How many people? Half of 100. How much? 50. Correct. What is A2? We have 80. What is number of people? 1 by 4th of 100. Which means how much? 25. Makes sense? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Now, I need to find out remaining. What is remaining? A3. How many people remaining left out? Remaining. So out of 150 gone, 25 gone. What is left out? 25. That's all. That's all. Get the value of it. So how much will get? 7800 equals 4500 here plus how much will get? 80 into 25, 2000, no? 2000 plus 25 into A3. Correct. So let's add together how much will get if adding this together and subtract from there 78,000 minus, right, 6,500. How much will get? 1,300 equals 25 into A3. So how to find the value of A3? 1,300 divided by 25. So what is the answer we get? 52. And that's your answer. Simple, no? And see here, Manasvi, what did you assume that is wrong, right? My right answer is 52. That's why I always tell, if you use the POE, you have a risk of 50%. So if you know the answer, if you know how to solve it, you solve it. If you do not know, you take a chance. That's the answer. See, the same thing I can also use it using the pi, isn't it? So 1 pi required here, 1 pi required here, 1 pi required here, 1 pi required here, 1 pi required here. Same thing, no? So I know that the pi says that, so if I have a n1, I have a1 and multiply, I'll get a1 sum 1. What is sum 1 here? 4500. What is sum 2? 2000. What is sum 3? 25 into a3. Exactly the same thing, right? So you can use it. So my answer is 52. Any question?
No, sir.
So what is important? What is the learning point out of this question is just use the one expression. That's all. Capital A into capital N, which means total average into total number of people equals the first group, second group, third group. The first group average summation, that is sum 1. Second group summation, sum 2. Third group summation, sum 3. How do I find the summation? Very simple, average into n. Average into number of terms. And just look at the questions is given already. I assumed 100 total number of students because it's easier to find out, because given half of the students is the average is 90. So what is half of 100? That is 50. Half of, 1 by 4th of 100, that is 25. Remaining is 25 here. That's all. So you can assume 100. You may assume also, why not, sir, 8? Assume 8 also, not a problem. If you assume 8, also assume 10. No, not 10 is not a good number. You'll get a fraction for the second summation. Right? So it's better you assume 8, you can assume 16, you can assume also 32, possible. Okay? Or assume 100 is a good number, because multiplying by 100 does not require any effort. Right? Just put the 0, just put 0 at that. That's why 100 is a good number in this case. Yes, let's go for the next one. Shall we go for the next?
Yes, sir.
Let's try. Oh, one more is there. So this is again the good question. You try this one yourself once. Try solving it. The question reads as, on Tuesday, veterinary clinic sees both dogs and cats but no other animals. Okay. And there are fewer than 4 dogs seen for every cat seen. Example. Which means the ratio is very simple. The number of cat seen by the doctor and number of dogs seen by the doctor, the ratio is given. If one cat, right, then what about the dogs? Fewer than 4. Correct, no? Which means, what is the meaning of this? Which means one dog he can see, or 2 dogs he can see, or 3 dogs he can see. For, keep in mind, once again I repeat, is given, the question is given, there are given that there are fewer than 4 dogs seen for every cat seen. If one cat is seen by the doctor, whatever number of dogs can be seen, 1 or 2 or 3. Fewer than 4. Correct? No. Now, the question is, the average charge for a dog visit that day is 65. Which means this is given, A1 is given, dog or cat, first one is given, for the dog is given, no? Okay, no problem. Let's say it's given 45 here, no, for the cat. And what about the dog given? 65. Make sense? The average charge for a dog visit that day is 65. Okay. And 45 for the cat visit. The average charges. Correct? Which of the following amount could be the average charge for all the patients? See, how many groups are there? 2 groups. Talking about all the patients means what are you talking about? Weighted average? Yes or no? The question is
Yes,
being
sir.
asking weighted average. The weighted average of charge, the fee. Correct? No. The question is the weighted average of charge. Very simple. I can find weighted average. We know that how many number of cat we have? 1. Number of, what is the average? 45. Correct? No. Plus how many number of, the maximum I can take 3 only, no? Correct? So 65 into 3, right? Total, how many I can say, number of dogs, number of cats together, maximum possibility 4. So 1 from the cat and 3 from the dogs.
Dog.
So how much you'll get here? Weighted average. This is the maximum weighted average. This is the maximum, right? Possibility, maximum possibility. So how much you'll get? So 45 into, if you just the 45 plus, how much you'll get? Can you find out and tell me? 65 in 60 into 3, 180, and 5 into 3, 15. 195. Divide by 4. How much you'll get the maximum? How much you'll get maximum? Yeah?
60.
60 is the maximum.
240 by 4.
40. We took 3, no?
Sir, what 240 by 4 is 60.
1 minute. Just can you calculate? And makes sense, right? So 60 is, remember, 60 is the maximum weighted average. How to find the minimum? Put number of dog is 1 only. I know weighted average is 45. I mean average is 45. 65 average for the dogs, right? So what is the number of dogs I can put it here? Minimum 1. Divide by 2. 1 plus 1, correct? Total number of elements. So I'll get 45 plus 65 divide by 2. 45, 65, how much you'll get together?
110.
Divide by 2. Yeah? Divide by 2. 55. Correct, no? So this is minimum. And what is the maximum? 60. Whatever in between, all my answers. Correct? My answer must be 55 also, 56 also, 57 also, 58 also, 59 and also 60. Look at the option. Look at the option. 58 is my answer. 55 is also my answer. Also 58. Also 60 is my answer. What about 61? No. Because what is the maximum? 60 weighted average of the charges. What is the minimum? Minimum is 55. Why I took minimum this is because for every one cat, minimum is one dog can be seen. And the maximum for every one cat, how many dogs can be seen? Maximum 3 dogs can be seen. That's all. Very simple. And this is the concept of again the weighted average because we have two groups. One for the cat, one for the dogs. So cat 1 and the weighted average given for the cat, the charges 45 per cat, and the per dog charges given 65, which means the average, right? So I can find a weighted average minimum of the maximum.